Good evening from Los Angeles. I'm Lawrence O'Donnell in for Keith Olbermann. President Obama has spoken frequently about there being agreement in Congress about 80% of what needs to be done to achieve health care reform. What the president does not say, that only one thing would need to go against them before many supporters would withdraw their support. Our fifth story on the countdown, just one of many things to keep an eye on as the Senate Finance Committee considers the 564 amendments to its health care reform bill. That process began this morning on what is the only bill, essentially, that President Obama has endorsed. Forget the grand rhetorical flourishes of the town hall meetings that dominated the debate in August. At this stage of the legislative process, the Republicans will attempt to kill the bill, not with hysterical shouting about death panels, but with calm, relentless repetition of the ugliest three-letter word in American politics. T-A.
It's pretty clear. The proposal itself states that the consequences for not maintaining insurance would be an excise tax, and makes it clear that the excise tax would be assessed through the tax code and applied as an additional amount of federal tax owed.
The health insurance industry lobby has weighed in on the Baucus bill, and no surprise, it pretty much likes what it has seen. In a 13-page letter, Karen Ignani, the head of the industry's largest trade group, thanked the Senate Finance Chairman Max Baucus for his bill, while expressing concerns with key aspects of the proposal, of course, including a provision to raise money by taxing health insurance companies. Senator Al Franken, meanwhile, has lobbied Chairman Baucus on behalf of the medical device makers in his home state of Minnesota. Senator Franken told Chairman Baucus that he opposes, along with four other senators, a provision in the bill that would impose $4 billion in annual fees on the makers of products like heart pacemakers and artificial hips. And labor unions and some Democrats have also joined Republicans in pushing to scale back or kill the provision that would impose a tax on high-cost insurance plans, the so-called Cadillac tax. Other Democrats on the committee pointing out that the current proposal does not offer enough choice to consumers.
The bill does not hold insurance companies accountable. The bill does not force insurance companies to compete for our business. The bill denies choice of coverage to over 200 million Americans. This bill, in its current form, stipulates that while you can keep what you have, if you don't like what you have, you've got to keep it. You're stuck. You're denied the chance to get something better.
That's what support sounds like on the Senate Finance Committee. A new senator from the state of Massachusetts could be announced as early as Thursday, now that both houses of the state legislature have approved a measure allowing the governor to appoint someone to fill the seat held by Ted Kennedy. Final approval is expected tomorrow. Much to talk about tonight with MSNBC's political analyst Howard Fineman. He is also, of course, senior Washington correspondent for Newsweek magazine. Good evening, Howard.
Hi, Larry.
Howard, we have moved past the August recess cow shouting, and now we're down to the nitty-gritty details. Nice, calmed, reasoned discussion in the Senate Finance Committee. Does that make things any better for the Democrats?
No, it means the Republicans are trying to move in for the kill. As you pointed out, and since you worked on the Hill for Senator Moynihan and know the Finance Committee in the Senate as well as anybody on the planet, you know what's going on. As you pointed out, for Republicans, taxes are worse than death. You know, death and taxes are worse. They think they can try to kill it off. And as one top Democrat told me on the phone a little while ago, he said the sharks are in the water, and they would be not just Republicans, but some Democrats, too.
Well, it does seem that it's all in the language at this point. It's all in the framing. Certainly when you get to public opinion on this, you heard Republican senators today constantly using the word tax, right, where Democrats prefer to use the word fee. And on our NBC poll, we showed that support for the Obama health care reform proposal fluctuates anywhere from 46%, as low as 46%, to as high as 73%, depending exclusively on how you phrase it. So this is, as much as anything else, a battle of the semantics, with the Republicans, it seems to me, having a much easier angle here, going for their simpler descriptions of everything.
Well, that's right. They're shouting fire in the crowded theater. I would say on that poll, if you look at that poll number closely, I think it's a little troubling, though, for the Obama team, because the public doesn't seem to like as much the sales pitch for a public plan based on the idea that it would provide competition to private plans, which is the basis upon which Obama's been selling it. But I think a lot of people are concerned when it's phrased that way because they're concerned about their own health care that they already have. They don't want anything in this plan to jeopardize that. And that's the delicate line Obama's been trying to walk, not always successfully.
And, Howard, we see liberal senators like our friend Al Franken opposing specifics of the bill. He's opposed to the fee on medical device makers because he has a few of those in his state. We see big labor pushing back against the Cadillac tax on the health care. We see big pharma trying to hold on to its piece of the bill. And it seems to me what you see is a series of individual items that could provoke an individual senator to vote against final passage if those things are in there. In other words, there may be 50 to 60 different ways for this bill to come apart among the Democrats.
Yeah, there could be, and I don't know that Max Baucus, the chairman, is helping things because he seems to be changing all the details on the fly, and that's troubling too. And they're giving ammunition to the other side because I know just this evening, I think this afternoon, the head of the Congressional Budget Office is saying that there's so much in it and so confusing, it's going to take him 2 weeks to figure out how much the whole thing costs. If the Senate Finance Committee slows down now and waits for that time, that alone could kill the bill.
And, when we talk about 80% agreement, what I've noticed is there's been virtually no discussion up to now about how to pay for it. Paying for it is 50% of the bill. And there's no agreement between the House and the Senate on that 50% of the bill. What the bill actually does in health care policy is the other 50% of the bill, and that's where most of the agreement seems to reside. But the Finance Committee is the first committee to fully consider all the ways of paying for this, and that, it seems to me, is where most of the struggle is going to be in this markup, isn't it?
I think that's right, and that's why that thing from the budget director today is significant. The other thing about this is that the way it looks right now, people are going to be taxed, or they're going to pay fees, call it what you will, to help pay the insurance companies to acquire more customers. That's sort of the bottom line right now, without a public option or anything like that. So that's why the left wing of the Democratic Party is upset because of that. And the right wing is upset because of the amount of money it's going to cost. The only winners, when Karen Ignani, who's a terrific lobbyist, ends up being the main winner for the health insurance industry in this thing, that's a sign that the whole thing could fall apart. Mark my words.
And Howard, quickly, the senator from Massachusetts, whoever he or she may be, could arrive as early as next week. Is that a game changer?
No, because the Democrats all can't agree. Even if they have 60, it's not the Holy Grail.
All right, Howard Fineman of MSNBC and Newsweek, thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you, Lawrence.